Greetings, my saplings. Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be making the video where I give you guys all the updates regarding the raffles and, some other first come, first serve stores that might be getting the shoes. Well, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the off-white Converse, or you could say the off-white Chuck Taylors, and specifically just some updates for them. Not only regarding the release, however, I did also want to update you guys on some resale predictions that kind of change, and you'll see what I'm talking about later. But as of now, why don't we jump right into it? So I just want to say a lot has changed over the past day, really like the past 24 hours. So to kick it off, I guess that exclusive release that I was referring to that was supposed to occur on May 10th, where the real release supposed to be on May 12th. Well, that exclusive release actually ended up being a surprise release on May 8th. So I don't think we're still going to be getting this exclusive release on May 10th. Of course, it's still a possibility, but you still definitely should have your eyes peeled for May 10th. But on May 8th, yesterday, what actually happened? Well, a few things happened. At 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we had Converse release these, and then later at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we had Nike release these. However, Nike didn't release them on the app. They actually released them solely through the Nike sneakers website. You might be wondering, why in the world would they do a surprise release like this? Like, why wouldn't they even plan it out or give us some type of warning? In my opinion, the reason they did this was, of course, to avoid the spamming of bots, I guess. And honestly, I have to agree with this decision because I ended up lucking out on a pair. Honestly, it took me a great deal of time to check out. It had to be at least like a whole 4 seconds, much longer than I usually take, because I wasn't able to use the app. I had to use my mobile device because I was in school at the time, but I had to do it on the website, and it was kind of a longer process. So yeah, it took me 5 seconds, but somehow I was still able to cop the shoe, even though I didn't have my size pre-selected and all that stuff. So clearly this surprise release was a success for a lot of manual users who did know about this release. Now, if you're wondering, Keith, how did you cop? How did you know that they were going to release? Well, first of all, you guys should have been able to cop too if you were following my Twitter, because I actually retweeted the tweet that gave you the link on how to purchase these at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. If you want to know the primary source, that is the J23 app. I highly recommend that you follow J23 app on Twitter. So obviously, if you go onto the Nike sneakers site, if you go check it out, it will say sold out, unfortunately. So you're saying, oh no, did I take an L? Don't worry, guys. You didn't take an L technically. Well, you may have taken an L on that specific release, but you still have a chance, believe me. First of all, what I want to say is there's a very high likelihood that Converse might do another online release. If not an online release, they might do an in-store release, and they might announce this really late. I'm sure that Off-White will also do a surprise release, being a first come, first serve release. So hopefully you guys will have luck on there, but most importantly and most likely what's going to happen, I think Nike Sneakers is going to be getting these again. The reason I say this is because they never released throughout the app. If you remember all the initial 10 that released from that original 10 collection, or I should say the 9 that released, they released on the website and the app. So if this only released via the website, I'm thinking that this was only part of their stock. I'm thinking that Nike Sneakers, at least I'm just saying there's a chance. So you just gotta have hope, okay guys? So I think that there is a chance that they might still do a first come, first serve on Saturday, maybe around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, maybe 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And if it's not a first come, first serve, I'm assuming it will obviously be a draw. And if you're wondering some quick tips on what to do on the sneakers draw and what to do on sneakers first come, first serves, definitely go check out my how to cop guide for these off-white Chuck Taylors, where I went more in depth for it. But basically, I'm just saying there is a chance that Nike Sneakers is still going to be getting these on Saturday. Don't expect them to put it up with a warning or anything like that. I would expect these to pop up on the sneakers app, if anything, on the very last day, if not the last day, maybe a couple hours before the release. In addition to these stores, I think there's also a chance that there might be a lot of first come, first serve releases on some Europe sites. And obviously we did see this with the white Vapor Maxes and the black Vapor Maxes of 2018 that just came out. There were tons of EU stores that were shipping worldwide where everyone was basically able to cop at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. I think that there's a chance that this could happen. However, this was part of the initial 10 collection, and those first 9, they didn't do it for them. But I'm just saying there's a chance, so I'll keep you guys updated on any stores like that. But what we do know of, and this is how you know for 100% a fact, you haven't taken an L yet. And the reason I say this is because we have plenty of raffles that you could sign up for. And actually, a lot of these raffles are really good because you could just make tons of entries. The first one we're going to talk about is actually my favorite raffle, and that is the Slam Jam Socialism raffle. If you're not new to the channel, you've definitely heard me talk about this raffle before. The Slam Jam Socialism raffle is always great because all you really have to do to just make multiple entries is the +1, +2, +3 email jig, where you essentially just put a +1 in front of your email and then right before the @gmail.com. For instance, if this was my like 50 something entry, I would just put +54 or whatever it is right before the @gmail.com. The algorithm sees this as a different email address. However, if you were to take a W hypothetically, this would go to your main email account box as if it's all just going to one account, but the computer can't pick it up. It's amazing. Now, what I also did want to mention, you're going to be granted two options, obviously, a online release and an in-store pickup release. If you wanted to do the in-store pickup release, which would be wise to sign up for if you're in the vicinity of any of these stores, because there's obviously less demand, less people going for these, you will need an ID, unfortunately, so you are only going to be making as many entries as you are having people who are willing to go pick up the shoes. But going back to the online raffle, because that's what most of us are going to be doing anyway, in addition to doing that for the email, for the phone number, there is no verification process at all. So go ahead and put a random phone number in. Yeah, I said it, just put a random phone number in. The only thing I would recommend is make sure the area code isn't from a different country than you're signing up for. Also, you do have to put a city in. Obviously, you want to keep your city authentic like the way it should be, but I do think that if it's possible, you should keep your area code legitimate. But again, it's just put in a random phone number for each one. And then, of course, finally select your size. And that's all you have to do. You don't need to put in your address. You don't need to put in any payment. It's amazing. Whenever you guys have free time, say you're sitting on a bus or something, feel free to whip out your computer or whip out your phone or your tablet and just start making some entries on Slam Jam Socialism. Now, the next raffle we're going to be talking about, one that I don't really like as much, but it's also pretty good. It is the Antonia Milano raffle. Now, essentially, we are going to be doing everything that we just did for Slam Jam Socialism. However, the only few differences are going to be for your birthday. Choose different birthdays just because I feel like there's a chance that they may track this. I doubt it, but there's just a chance. Also, make sure if you're, say, 17 years old or 16 years old, you're not quite over 18, definitely make it so you're 18 years old at least. And then finally, when you're asked to put in your address, all you got to do is change the last word up. For instance, the last word of my address is street, so I would type in ST for one entry, then ST dot for one entry. You just need different characters. The possibilities really are endless, and I've talked about this before. And unfortunately, you are going to be having to follow them on Instagram. You will need different accounts. I don't advocate creating fake accounts because they might see like only 2 followers or so and just think it's immediately fake and cancel your entry. However, what I would recommend, just simply have a friend follow them for you, and then after this is over, they could just unfollow them. Moving on to the next raffle. This one I actually like a little more. This is the VOO store. It's essentially everything we just talked about, except luckily we do not have to use our Instagram for this one. Next up, we have the End Clothing Raffle. This is a raffle that I do like because they do actually send out confirmation emails. So when we use the +1, +2, +3 jig that I was talking about with the emails, we actually get to see this in action. Even if you take an L, you get to see like all your L emails come in. Even if you use the +1, +2 thing, all the emails come into the same account. So I guess if you were nervous about this working, I guess End Clothing is the way to see it happen. Because not only will you see your L emails come in, but even when you're signing up for confirmations, you'll see them come in through this way too. The last thing I wanted to mention about End Clothing, you will have to make an account and all that info should be jigged the way I talked about previously. Finally though, you will have to use different payment methods. So say you could use your wife's credit card, you could use maybe like your brother's credit card, anything like that. Maybe you use your business PayPal and then your personal PayPal. You could also go check out privacy.com where you're able to make a bunch of different credit cards. But that's something I was thinking I was going to make a whole video on a little later. But if you want to check them out, go ahead. And finally, the last raffle is going to be Overkill. Essentially, for entering, it's going to be all the same stuff we just talked about. However, this is unfortunately only an in-store pickup. So if you happen to be in Germany, because I'm pretty sure they have a store in Germany, definitely make sure to sign up because it's definitely going to be worth the drive considering the amount these things are going to be reselling for. Of course, though, if you're anywhere in Europe, I would recommend that you check the locations. Now, so for all of these raffles, and not just these raffles, because I'm sure more will pop up too, all the links for these raffles will be on my Twitter, okay? My Twitter is KeithAdam10. And aside from all my links going on there, if there are any essential updates that I do need to make, I will make a video on that for sure, because I'm always trying to keep you guys 100% updated. So definitely turn on post notifications and subscribe so you don't miss out on those essential updates. So now, regarding resale, the one thing I wanted to update you on is, should you sell them now or should you wait on them? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the exclusive release happened a whole 2 days before I actually expected it to happen, meaning that this is about 4 days before the original release. So if you happen to get your shipment in from Nike or Converse or whatever, or if you even had these shoes in hand before, what I'm actually going to recommend, if they're still floating at around $1,000, I'm going to actually recommend that you just sell them right away. And yeah, there's definitely a chance that in 6 months or so, it will surpass that price. However, you have to keep in mind that it will probably dip a good amount after the real release, after the wider release. So if you happen to have any pairs from this early release, I'm recommending that you sell them the day you get them. But if you don't sell them the day you get them, when you start seeing them drop to like the 400 or potentially like the 600 range around there, I'm actually going to recommend that you hold them for 6 months to around a year. Who knows, guys, because the initial 9 that released, those are still increasing in value. Like, it is actually insane how much they have gone up. Some of them being a lot more than double. Anyway, that will wrap it up, guys. Good luck on this release. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, if you perhaps learned a thing or two. Also, make sure to turn on post notifications and subscribe so you stay 100% updated. Again, all the raffle links will be on my Twitter, which is KeithAdam10. With that, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Using your shoe like a size 12 weapon. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
Now I can't run and I can't walk. You hit me so hard I don't want to talk. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
Why are you always in my way, knocking me over